Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and the good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and of course you good old boys in Canada. You know we love the Big C tribe in Africa, so no more hate mail from the Big C tribe. The Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south. In the land of the free and the home of the brave Big C. How's it going for you good old boys down south on a beautiful January 25th, 2018 Big C?
Well, Charlton, we had a day of nothing but sunshine, so I was able to go outside and work on my tan just a little bit, so I'm feeling radiant this evening.
Yeah, that suntan is something else year-round. I think a lot of good old boys are. I told you one time, I was out just doing some shopping, and this guy from the Caucasian Persuasion approached me and asked me if I wanted some suntan spray. They have it in a can. He was going to spray it on me to give me a sample, Big C. I said, no, I'm good, Big C. I thought of all people, he approached me and asked me if I wanted a suntan spray on, Big C. I thought that was funny. I do want to say this segment sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. You can drive a car or you can drive a Cadillac. Big C, I know a lot of things going on in the world of sports. We have Tiger Woods doing his thing down in Southern California, and sometimes he looked great, sometimes he looked a little bit rusty, but he shot even par. Some things in the NBA, what's going to happen with Cleveland? Who's going to be on the All-Star team? Who really knows? I know we have the NFL's granddaddy of them all, the Super Bowl shaping up in about 2 more weeks. Big C, what's on your mind in the world of sports today?
Well, Charlton, I think the #1 thing would be Tiger coming back to the world of golf.
Yeah.
You know, he opens up so many opportunities for everybody, and mainly the broadcasters, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
Because without him, there's electricity in the broadcast. Regardless of what he shoots, he becomes the focus of the tournament. You'll always have somebody on the leaderboard that no one knows who they are, no one cares.
Yeah.
But Tiger, any action that Tiger takes is an impulse of thought. Everybody in the broadcast is trying to recognize what he's doing now compared to what he did before.
Yeah.
No one expects Tiger to be the golfer that he was a decade ago, Charlton.
Right.
It's just unbelievable, you know. But, you know, now when you look at him, hoping that he can be competitive, that's what you look for. And you think about his age, he's in the 40s. How many guys in the NFL and the NBA and the NHL are competitive in their 40s? So,
yeah.
you know, when you think about him going out being able to compete against some guys generally half his age,
yeah,
and being in the running with them, that lets you know the greatness that Tiger has possessed in his life in that particular sport.
Yeah.
But to go out and having been, you know, really on the main circuit for a couple of years and now coming back, hoping to make the cut, that's the best you can hope for Tiger. If he makes the cut, you think about the sponsors and advertisers will go apoplectic, Charlton. They would be totally ecstatic that he's playing on the weekend.
Yeah, I think a lot of them already are. And when you think about his numbers today, shot an even par on a 72, of course. He had 3 bogeys, he had 3 birdies, but he had 12 pars for a guy coming off of back surgery. I know a lot of athletes have had back surgery and they've had other type of surgeries, Big C, but for him to take so much time off and come back and he's at 12 pars. He didn't have like 12 bogeys, he had 12 pars. I think that's pretty solid, and I think for him going into the weekend, obviously, you know, have to do well again on Friday, but I think he might be at a better spot than a lot of people thought, Big C, with having 3 birdies, 3 bogeys, and 12 pars. Big C, that looks pretty solid for someone who came off of back surgery. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it normally takes me a month to shoot 12, you know, par holes and stuff, so, and that's fun every day.
Yeah.
So, you know, everyone has to be ecstatic to a degree about Tiger's productivity. And to go out, and you think about it, when was the last time you saw a golf tournament this time of the year, and you only really interviewed one golfer, and that was Tiger. You know, the media's focus was on Tiger and Tiger solely, trying to see how he felt, you know, what his outlook was, and his outlook is that he wants to be relevant. You know, he wants to go out there and not embarrass himself. He wants to know that he can still play with the real elite. And that's what Tiger has done, Chuck. And the time off And you think about the lack of interest in golf around America and around the world. Tiger brings all that back. Tiger is like the Super Bowl of golf.
Yeah.
The World Series of baseball.
Yeah.
You know, that's where he is. And so people want to be a part of it. You know, when you have people watching golf on a Thursday in January, that's because Tiger Woods is playing.
Yeah.
You know, this is, you know, less than 2 weeks before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But Tiger Woods have people interested in golf. We're talking about the NBA being very competitive right now.
Yeah.
So we got people talking golf. And that's because of an individual named Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
When you have someone who galvanizes sports, as he does, you know, I hear so many people talking, and you and I talked about it last night, talked about the great Will Chamberlain,
Yeah.
saying that Michael Jordan is the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what year they were born in. Michael Jordan
1990.
He's the greatest athlete of all time. I don't think Michael Jordan won 4 gold medals in one Olympics,
No,
okay?
no.
Like Jesse Owens did. I don't think he won 9 gold medals overall like a Carl Lewis did.
Yeah.
I don't think he has 22 gold medals like the swimmer.
The Phelps?
I can't think his name right now. You know, the young man out of Phoenix. But, you know, Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
When you think about all of these tremendous athletes, think about even Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson still holds the NCAA record for averaging rush yards for attempt for a running back who gained over 1,000 yards in one season.
Yeah.
You know, Jackie Robinson did that as well as he was a 10-time All-Star in baseball. So, you know, when you start thinking about that, and Wilt, you know, he was NBA's all-time leading scorer when he retired, and Michael didn't eclipse that.
Yeah.
And Michael had the 3-point shot, and Wilt didn't have that.
Yeah.
So, when I hear these young sports talk guys saying that Jordan was the greatest athlete of all time, he was a tremendous athlete.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't win a championship at 54 years old like Patrick Cleveland did with the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But when we start talking about what athletes does, he doesn't have 11 NBA championships like a Bill Russell.
Yep, that's
So
true.
let's be realistic when we start comparing athletes to eras. You know, Jim Brown gained all the yards you could possibly gain in 9 years and never got hurt.
Yep.
So think about what you say when you're out there telling the listening audience who's the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
We have seen, I don't think he'll ever be eclipsed, but there's several of them talking there on that plateau.
Yeah.
Michael is in the top 10, but he's not the greatest of all time.
No.
He might be one of the elitist of the ESPN era talking, but he's not the greatest of all time because he's been an African-American athlete that never got a chance to get any notoriety over time. But when you think about the leading Kentucky Derby winner of all time, Charlton, he won 26 Kentucky Derby. He's an African-American jockey.
Yep.
An African-American jockey has 26 Kentucky Derby wins. Now they praise guys with 4 and 5. And they're the greatest jockey of all time.
Yeah.
But if you want to sit back and look and see who's the greatest horse rider of all time, just look into the history of the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
You see there's one African-American jockey, won 26. And so that's not 1 year. That's over, you know, he had to run at least 26 years, and he was in there at least 30 years that he won, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. We sometimes give a lot of credit to guys now, even going back to Tiger. He really had a hole-in-one on the 16th. And the thing that I love about seeing Tiger come back, and I know our country love to love people when they're doing good, and then if they're doing too well, Big C, they tend to want to hate them too. And Tiger's gone through that renaissance, that love-hate relationship with the American media. And it all started with his wife breaking out, or his ex-wife, even breaking out the window of his Cadillac Escalade. And then all the other things came out. They said, my God, this guy's more like Trump than we thought. he never went around and grabbed women the way Donald Trump was grabbing women. And you think about that, how that led to the $100 million in lost endorsement with Tiger Woods and the issues about his marriage. Like a lot of people have their own issues in their marriage. You know, unlike Trump hasn't lost endorsements. In fact, he became president having the same type of behavior. So no matter what people do in their private life, the thing that I like about Tiger is I still think back to the time when he won his first Masters back in '97. I'll never forget that. There was so much hoopla on the changing color of the game, almost like that guy with the suntan spray he tried to sell me Big C in the parking lot. I just thought that was so funny. And then maybe he was colorblind. I just didn't understand why he brought it to be Big C. But I look at how Tiger, when he won the Masters in '97, remember that time he went up and he hugged his dad and they both cried, Big C? That's something that will leave an indelible impression in my mind because his father was the one who taught him the links, he taught him the ropes, he taught him the mentality you have to be a champion. He taught him all of that. But one thing his father wasn't around to teach him is how to deal with people when they turn on you. And Big C, we've seen that. Your thoughts on how Tiger has managed that so well and not achieved even far, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Chuck, when you think about it, Tiger took the high road. He didn't blast the media. He didn't blast all the people who talked about it.
No.
Tiger went out and was Tiger. Everybody, and the reason why the media was so hard on Tiger because they didn't care for Tiger.
Yeah.
They say they love him, but they didn't care for him. Everybody looks for a chink in someone's armor. Something that would potentially make him vulnerable. And that was the one opportunity that the media had with Tiger is they found some vulnerability. And they could have a one-up on Tiger instead of people, he's this arrogant individual that feels that he's entitled to whatever he wants. He earned what he had, Charlie.
Yeah.
No one says that Brady's arrogant. He earns what he has.
Yeah.
No one says that Larry Bird was arrogant. But when we look throughout time and we see a lot of prominent black athletes who did not care about dealing or associating. No one says that Bill Belichick is arrogant.
Yeah.
Okay? We didn't hear a lot from Bill Walsh when he was the head coach of the 49ers. He was very minimal as far as what he gave to the media. And Jimmy Johnson was as arrogant as any coach ever.
Yep.
Because when he was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and the University of Miami.
Yep.
So when you want to sit back and say, because he's a minority, he should not be at that, prominence throughout the media. He should be there and give the media what they ask for.
What they ask all the time. Yeah.
It's looked at in a different light. Barry Bonds, was always thought of being arrogant. That's the reason why they don't want to vote him into the Hall of Fame. Not because of some steroid allegation, but because he never failed the drug test.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be the number one thing. He didn't fail a drug test. He's never been convicted of any drug abuse, regardless of what you allege.
Yeah.
And America's supposed to be a society of innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But you have all these sports writers jury when it comes to the minority athletes saying, this is our thoughts and feelings, so this is all that matters. They don't look at their own house. They were told by the Temptations, which you live in a glass house, doing their stone. Okay? And so there's a lot of people out there in glass houses.
Well, speaking of glass houses, did you see that there was an incident where a golfer, I think his name was Gibson, and he was playing in one of the tournaments in the Bahamas, and he threw a glove at his caddy. He was
the sleeve off his putter at his caddy's face.
Yeah.
Now, and the caddy made a mistake by picking up the ball shot.
Yeah.
But you think about that, if that had been Tiger Woods,
amen,
throwing the glove off of the putter at his caddy, think about the resonation of negativity that would have came about Tiger Woods throwing that. Now, if I'd have been the caddy, Chelsea,
it would have been a beat
I'd have dropped the bag and dropped the golf at the same time. Okay, they both went down.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Because he had already assaulted him.
Yep.
And to come back and apologize later via Twitter.
Yeah.
He fired the guy also. He fired the guy after the tournament.
I hope he sues him.
I hope the caddy comes back and sues him because it's witnessed. It's on tape.
It's on tape. Yeah.
It's on tape, so he can't say, well, this didn't happen.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah.
But I looked at how the media handles both. It was just a short clip of him doing this. I think about if it had been Tiger, if it had been, any minority golfer going out doing this talking, what would the media reaction have been if you had a minority golfer throwing a glove at a white caddy? How would the media would have reacted to this? The lawsuit would have been filed today, Charlie.
And
it would have been filed before the tournament is over. And DJ Singh, think about DJ Singh, if he had did it. That's how it's looked at. Well, he just, maybe lost his cool for a moment. That's how it is. But that was the same action when you talked about Tiger's ex-wife attacking him driving away in his car. And how it was handled by the media.
And Big C, and I want to bring that up because we always talk about there's no excuse for domestic violence or sexual assault. Now, what if a man had done that to a woman on camera? And I'm not making light of this. Okay, because if you do that to someone in broad daylight with the cameras on you, on a golf course or not, what does he do when there's no cameras around? What is he doing when there's no, a few thousand people standing around watching a golf tournament? And I want to bring up this point because just like what happened in the situation with Tiger, when a lot of people walked away from him because he got his window broken out by his Escalade. I've never known a man to drive an Escalade and break out his own window. We know his wife did that, and it came up as to why. But I've got to bring up this point because with Tiger, I know a lot of people that love and hate Tiger. But when he would golf, there were a lot of people that would say, can you believe he cusses so much? He's like John Gruden with a golf club. But John Gruden gets $100 million. Tiger Woods got admonished. And I want to just make this point because I know the networks will let it go fast. They'll say, hey, he apologized. How many men smack a woman and then say, hey, honey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to do it. How many guys take something and throw it at a woman and hit her and say, hey, I'm sorry, baby. I was just mad. I messed up on my golf swing and because of you, I apologize. And they let it go. But here's a teaching moment that no one's going to touch with Big C Sports. It might touch it in the next week coming up. If you don't let this be a teaching moment, you can't assault people, period. We talk about tolerance or violence against women. Here's a man who's assaulted by his by his golfer that he worked for, and because he had the power to do it, and then he fires the guy. If that caddy has any balls about him, go get yourself a lawyer and file an assault charge. Because if you don't do it, then it's going to happen to more people when there's no cameras around. Big C, that make any sense?
Assault, defamation of character, threats, all these things that he can do. But, how will, as you say, how will the networks look at this? You think about how long they look at it. Think about how long they rode Tiger Woods for not committing assault. Okay?
Yep.
And he loses all of this. Everybody blames Tiger. And all these other talk shows and everything were going out doing research. No one's checking this guy's background to see what's bothering him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
No one's checking to see if he has infidelity, maybe a drug problem, alcohol problem. No one's looking into that.
An athlete with infidelity? Are you kidding me, Big C? I think that's only happened once in the history of the universe, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, that's my thought for the company. This guy now will be canonized in the fame. It'd be almost like it didn't happen. You won't hear anything past this week about it, Captain. You might hear a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah.
Beyond this week, there won't be anything. That tournament will be out of everybody's mind because it's down in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But we have news clips of it. How often will it be run this week, Charlton?
Yeah.
This month. It won't be like Tiger where every day you saw it even on the talk networks, Charlton.
Yeah.
That, he was escalating with the broken out window from the golf club.
Yeah.
So, this is how people, when you have bias and justified bias towards someone, Charlton, you feel that you're bringing them down.
Yeah.
But that's how the media treated Tiger, that they were trying to bring him down.
Yeah.
We got to bring him off this pedestal because too many people care for him. And we can't have a person of minority stature being the most popular person out there that doesn't make errors.
Yeah.
We got to find a way to bury his legacy. And that's what we thought of, Charlton. It wasn't anything about what Tiger did wrong.
Yeah.
It was about tearing down his legacy. That's what that was all about, because someone's personal life, Tiger didn't go out and pay or have his lawyer pay this woman that he was dealing with $130,000, which we just had paid by the White House lawyer. He didn't go out and pay $130,000. He felt what he was doing wasn't worth $130,000. In the White House, he felt what he got was worth $130,000. I want to see credible visual evidence of $130,000 worth of something. That's what I want to do. I'm a visual type of person.
Is that why Trump wanted to lower taxes for rich people? So when they go out and have these sexual assault charges, they have less money to pay in taxes and more to pay in celibates? Big C, that make any sense, Big C?
That's what it sounds like, Trump, because his attorney gets to write that off,
Yeah, that's crazy. And I'll close with one more thing on this golf incident, because most assault happens behind closed doors. Most assault happens when nobody knows that anyone can. When people think they can get away with it, that's when assault happens. That's when men and women deal with assault. But for this guy, this Gibson, at this Web.com Tour golf tournament, to throw a glove at his caddy, and then to later apologize, and then fire the guy. I hope the man has enough stones to realize you're not going to be ostracized for being a caddy for anybody else, unless you like being beaten up. If you file a lawsuit against this guy, you set the tone for other guys who, just like this sexual assault garbage, okay? Because no one reports it, Big C. Because no one goes to authority. Because they think, well, I don't want to lose my standing around the good old boys. But you got to do something so that you can protect the next person who's going to be in an environment with someone who has money and authority over him to be assaulted on a golf course and then fired later in the day. You have to go and you got to pursue prosecution on this because you got to set a precedent. Imagine if Tiger Woods had done that same thing to anybody, they would have been all over him. And so I'm ashamed of this network that don't cover this. They kind of made it seem like it's a hiccup. It lasted about 30 seconds. Basically, that make any sense if he files assault charges against that golfer? He protects future people who also don't have power. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, how is the PGA sanctioning Trump? For committing this assault on the golf course?
Yeah.
They say it's a gentleman's game, okay, golf.
Yeah.
Okay, is that being a gentleman? Taking the club the cover off of the golf club and throwing it in somebody's face, throwing it directly at him, not tossing to him, throwing it at him. Now, there was an NBA game last night.
Yeah.
Where Blake Griffin from the Clippers threw a ball towards an official at half court. Didn't strike him. The official raised his leg and the ball went under his leg.
Yeah.
But he got a technical foul. Yeah. Okay? And it's all over the network today about Blake Griffin throwing his basketball towards an official.
And he missed. That is he hit him.
He was 42 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. 42 feet away. He wasn't 5 feet away. He was 42 feet away. He got a technical foul. Technical fouls will follow with a fine in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, how is the PGA going to handle this incident? They're going to say, well, okay, we're going to give a warning, or they're going to take money from this individual, or they're going to suspend him from a couple of tournaments.
Yeah.
Will they handle that like other professional leagues handling something?
Yeah.
Or will they just say, well, it was an unfortunate incident,
yeah,
and it's acceptable because he's a white golfer? Well, that's what's going to be said.
You can look at that all over the network. You won't see when a white guy assaults somebody, they make a big deal out of it. Had it been Tiger, but you just brought up the Blake Griffin incident that happened last night. I think even when Houston was playing the Clippers in LA, and I think Ariza and then Doc Rivers got into it. Yeah, they got into it and they made it like a whole week story. And they didn't throw any fists. They were just guys with power. See, there's a difference. The guys on the basketball court had power to challenge the guy financially and also physically. They had the power to stand up for themselves, and we're not saying we agree with it, but they have the power to defend themselves. A caddy versus a golfer that hires them is an employer-employee relationship. So if that's condoned by, the guy Billy Payne, I know he stepped down for the Masters, but he talked about how Tiger brought shame to the golf world because he did what Billy was doing. That Billy didn't think people knew about, okay? You can read between the lines of that. And at the same time,
had some moves, in the White House. I don't recall.
Hey, I like that Southern Justice, though. I don't recall, I don't remember. That's what Billy Payne and them good old boys do when they get caught with their zippers down, Big B. They just don't remember, and they resign because they're tired of being around golf. Yeah, right.
It's called a Southern excuse. I don't recall. I don't recall. I'm not saying I did or I didn't. I just said I don't recall.
Yeah.
You can't expect me to remember every impropriety that has occurred in my life. Okay, you know this happened yesterday. You can't always expect me to remember that.
That's funny. That's funny. So a guy resigns from the greatest, golf course in the basketball in the golf universe because of what? Okay, we know why. He brought up some things against Tiger and some good old boy listened to his background and said, "You guys know the same people." That makes sense. But I do hope, in sake of all the people, as some golfers would say, and as Tiger Woods would say, the little people. Hopefully for the little people, that caddy will stand up for himself and realize that assault should not be tolerated anywhere. Big C, I also want to bring up, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, that even Mickelson, who's been one of my favorite golfers too to see over the years, the lefty, he shot a 70 on the day and a 2 under par, and obviously I think he's tied for 35th. There's no talk about him being someone. Think about it. Tiger comes back. Phil hasn't been injured, but Tiger's the one getting all the attention. But it was Tiger and Phil, that racial tension thing that media played up. that made some of the golfing viewership go up, let alone Tiger being great? Why is Phil being ignored? He was right there with Tiger when he was doing his thing, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Phil had fallen off the radar to a lot of the young guys, Chuck. And, Tiger made Phil. That was a rivalry that people look for in sports. It was like a magic and bird.
Yeah.
That was that rivalry that people wanted to see. It was must-see golf television.
Yeah.
That they made each other better competitors for over a decade, Charlton. Phil was always in pursuit of Tiger, and everybody, he was always a shot or two short.
Yeah.
And Tiger was always hosting the country, and when Phil finally broke through, it was almost like Christmas for the right golf guy.
Yeah.
Because this guy that they had been pushing for over a decade finally won a major.
Yeah.
And everybody kept saying, it's Phil's time, it's Phil's time. And it wasn't. And not as long as Tiger was reigning would it be Phil's time.
Yeah.
But, Phil, was right there with Tiger all the time. And he was a recognizable and marketable name because he was Madison Avenue on television. For a guy who hadn't won any majors, he probably had as much sponsorship as anybody in the golf world.
Yeah.
But when you have something that you want to achieve, you'll go to all means, Charlton, to make it happen.
Yeah.
And they did that. There's many golfers who have won more majors than what Phil has.
Yeah.
And never gotten the notoriety of Phil. But Phil was that person that they could match against Tiger personality-wise.
Yeah.
They were polar opposites. One was white, one was, multiracial.
Yeah.
One was left-handed, one was right-handed. So everything stood up. They were just opposites of each other.
Yep.
And so the world just wanted to have this rivalry, and all sports need that. When you look at it, it's like the Patriots. It's the Patriots against the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not a particular team, but it's them against the NFL. Well, when you look at basketball right now, it's the Warriors versus the Cavs. Even though the Cavs are not competitive right now, as the Warriors are, that is still the major talk coming out of the East. The third place team in the East is still talk like they're the first place team in the East because they have played this particular rivalry battle for the last 3 championships in the NBA.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Phil, the media wants Phil.
Yeah.
But there's so many young guys in front of Phil, it's hard to go out the field, and people say, well, Tiger's here. Why are you talking about Phil at the moment?
Yeah.
And Phil is not competitive with these other guys.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I hope they can both make a nice swing for the weekend. It's just like bringing some of the good feelings that golf had that went away when Tiger and Phil kind of went off the map, Big C. So hopefully they'll turn it around. Also, I want to bring up just a side note. When we look at some basketball, some college basketball, we know what happened with Michigan State and the Olympic team and all that garbage with the assault and the women and I should call them girls because they were girls, mostly minors, not women, that were dealing with the assault. So I'm glad that there's some justice found for them. But I want to just bring up kind of a side note for that. If I look at former USC, there's a USC coach, a former assistant basketball coach, I think Tony Bland, and he had, I think, some charges brought against him for some type of shenanigans. Basically, were you aware of that? Your thoughts?
Yeah, Tony Bland was arrested today talking about FBI for racketeering, okay? For allegedly paying off athletes at USC on recruitment scenarios.
Yeah.
And this, you think about it, he gets arrested on a money situation where these sexual assaults in Michigan State started, the reporting started back in 2014, and I think it was 2018,
yeah,
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And when those allegations were originally made, they did not, the ILC did not make it known even to Michigan State. They had regulations from Michigan State for a month and a half, Chucky.
Yeah.
Before they reported it to Michigan State. Even once they reported it to Michigan State, Charlton, they didn't look at it to prioritize it.
No.
They didn't fire Larry Nassar. They kept him on the payroll. So, okay, we'll do an investigation. Because, you can't believe young girls.
Yeah.
You honestly can't. When they tell you that somebody's sexually assaulting or committing sexual misconduct towards them, you can't just wholeheartedly believe that if you're a white institution, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not these girls. Why would so many of them say the same thing as just this credible individual? Why would he have the need to do this and they all come forth at the same time with the same story?
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem credible in their eyes.
Well,
but, today, the president, yesterday, the president of Michigan State, she resigned. But think about this, Captain.
She didn't retire.
No, she didn't retire. She resigned.
No, she should have been fired, though.
Yeah, but she resigned. Think about this. She has a clause in her contract that she's going to take a year off, okay?
Yeah.
and she could come back in a teaching role at Michigan State.
Why?
And they would still pay her the $750,000 a year salary.
Wow. That's
She's going to take a year off, and she's going to come back and just be paid under $1 million a year to be the person who did all these sexual assaults that she knew about. And she's going to be paid by the state again. She's not going to face any criminal charges right now.
That's a shame.
But, you know, we think about the assistant basketball coach at USC. He wasn't out committing sexual assault. He wasn't hiding sexual assault.
Nope.
But all of these individuals at the IOC, the Olympic Gymnastics Center, as well as Michigan State, these administrators, were hiding sexual assault and being paid to hide each other.
Yeah.
And protecting each other. And yet, the former assistant basketball coach at USC, Tony Brown, was arrested today by the FBI.
Yeah.
Not for committing sexual assault, but for making financial payments.
Yeah.
Now, we already know that the IOC paid one of the young ladies $1.5 million.
Yep.
Now, isn't that kind of what Tony Brown was arrested for, Charles?
That's what I understand.
Paying off somebody?
That's what I understand.
And he didn't put $1.5 million on the table and sign a clause that you can't speak. All right? Because if you speak, you got to give us $100,000 back. So we got people that were hiding sexual assault.
Yeah.
And paying it off. And they're not going to jail or being arrested.
Big C, that's called justice being black and white. That point that you just brought up, here's Bland. Now, I know the good old boys have been getting away with this exploitation for a long time. You're a white coach, you can get $1 million, even $11 million to coach basketball players. For the most part, they're African American. That's just a fact, okay? And they want these black kids to stay poor. But the coaches, they can get all the money. Now, how do we make it a black-white issue? Because it really is. A lot of the kids that go on to college that can play basketball at a good level, when they're Caucasian, for the most part, the median income for white Americans is almost 4 times it is for African Americans. So even if they don't make it to the pros, they still have a better opportunity to enter the workforce. That's part of what the Kerner Commission found out over a half century ago. That's real. Until there's a way to get athletes money, and for the most part, if you're going to have good teams, they're going to go after the black athletes. That's just a fact. At least 80% of the time. So when you make it a penalty, when you make it a criminal charge to get young black kids some money that may not have the economics at home to make a lifestyle more comfortable for them in college, you're going to punish people for helping young black athletes. And that's still part of that Jim Crow mentality. But the NCAA has hid it because not paying players is an antitrust violation, and they know that. So here's a man giving some money to some athletes, and he has to get arrested for helping feed black kids. I think it's such garbage, and it's a shame that we still let the NCAA get away with that garbage. Hopefully someday they'll get some good attorneys that have some stones with them, and they'll take the NCAA to court. It's happened before, but it should not be a crime to feed young black minds. I'm not saying they need $150,000, but when a coach is getting $10 million, give me a break, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, we know it's always been unjustified, and there's no greater bill than what we've seen now, the NCAA investigating basketball programs. And as you said, the majority African-American athletes on these teams that they've investigated, we've seen Louisville.
Yep.
You know, we've seen, I believe it's the University of Virginia that was one of them, Charles.
Yeah.
There was a part of this investigation in now Tony Brown at USC. But, you know, there's no talk, you know, now they're going to open an investigation with the FBI. And the thing about Michigan State and IOC, they have refused to turn over any documents. They've investigated it, but they refuse to turn over any documents to the FBI.
Yeah.
Because think about how many people are going to be exposed, Charles.
Yeah.
When you refuse to turn over documents to the federal agency on sexual assault that you know has been occurring, how do you get away with that, Charles? And that's obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot about that in the White House, but that's truly obstruction of justice from a state institution, Charles, a state and federal institution, because the IOC receives federal money.
Yeah.
As well as the state institution receives federal money. But we're talking about people that are on the payroll, and they're refusing to turn over documentation of these things that and because they did an internal investigation, so they knew what was wrong. They know who knows. And yet, they don't want to turn it over to the feds, but you go out and you arrest these assistant basketball coaches for not committing sexual assault and covering it up.
That's a shame, Big C.
The people who commit sexual assault, and that's said last night, Nelson was just a fall guy.
Yeah.
That's all he was. What he did was totally wrong. but he still is the fall guy. Everybody is trying to get rid of evidence and not let stuff be known.
Yep.
Because as many people that were around, and the minute more than one person knows something, you no longer have a
Everybody
secret
knows.
talker.
Yeah.
And these little girls have been reporting what he was doing.
Yeah.
And telling people over and over, Charlton, students at Michigan State have been reporting him. The first student at Michigan State reported him in 2014
Yeah.
of what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he had been doing it to the girls in the Olympics for over a decade.
Yeah.
And yet no one took any action over it.
Yeah.
So you have people that are culpable that are walking around getting paid and saying, hey, you know, let's get rid of evidence. Because that's what they've done. They haven't given it over to the feds. So stuff is disappearing, Charlton.
Yeah, that's a good point, Big C. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark for been around half a century. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, even your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Big C, I want to touch a little bit of what's going on in the world of, I know football is big, and I want to just touch a little bit on the Senior Bowl that's coming up. We talk about some of the great quarterbacks out there. We have Josh Allen at Wyoming, out of Fireball, California, in Central California, a small farming community. If you ever heard of Fireball, it's out there near Interstate 5 in California, in the Central Valley near Highway 152 down in the Fresno area. But it's more known for fishing than it is for high school football players, Big C. But there's also some great programs like Dos Palace and Los Banos out in that I-5 area too, south of the Bay Area, north of Fresno. Your thoughts on a kid from a small town like Fireball and at the Senior Bowl, and then he's going up against guys like Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma, who's come also from a smaller town. And then you had Carson Wentz that was drafted last year, and he came out of a small university. Your thought on why so many small town kids are able to compete with these big city kids, and now college football is paying attention to them? I think it's because a lot of the combines, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm talking, if you look at that area in the region that you're talking about in California, there could be several NFL quarterbacks out of that valley region of California. If you go back to the Mad Bomber who used to play with the Raiders, Dale LaMonica, he was out of Clovis, California.
Yeah.
You look at Trent Dilfer, I believe he was in that area also down in Visalia, California.
Up in California for Trent Dilfer, up in the south part of the Bay Area. And
and you look at the Carr brothers, Derek and David.
Yeah.
They flew out of Bakersfield and played at Fresno State.
Yeah.
There was another kid who was a backup quarterback with the Kansas City Chiefs. A kid named Bray played at the University of Tennessee. Matter of fact, he was Lane Kiffin's first recruit quarterback down at the University of Tennessee. He was there 1 year and left while Bray was still there.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at this kid, Josh Allen, which your buddy Mel Kiper has the number one on the state draft board. Okay?
Yeah, right, okay.
You know, so maybe I need to cut back on the beard. We can't have it with each other.
Yeah.
Mel is a little disillusioned. Now, they say the kid's got a big arm, okay?
Yeah, you got a big arm.
So I'm trying to think about how many big arms that have come into the NFL over the past, decade and a half. Brock Osweiler,
Yeah.
big arm.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf, big arm.
Yeah.
Jeff George, big arm.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on, Charlton. Even Trent Dilfer had a big arm, okay? Derek Carr, David Carr rather had a big arm.
Yeah.
So a lot of these big arm quarterbacks, when you think about Josh Allen, he has the most negatives of anybody that they're projecting in the first round as a quarterback. People talk about Sam Donald and the other kids around. This kid, Charlton, in 2 consecutive years has completed less than 56% of his passes in college.
Yeah.
Now we're talking Wyoming. We're not talking about the SEC. We're not talking about the Pac-12. We're not talking about the Big Ten. We're talking about Wyoming.
Yeah.
Okay? No one knows who they play.
Yeah.
But he's only completed less than 56% of his passes 2 consecutive years. I don't care how. If you're that big and you're that strong and you can see over everybody, 6'5", 6'6", Charlton, you should be completing at least 65% of your passes.
Yeah.
Every quarterback that has been drafted in the NFL, Charlton, this is a proven statistic, that has completed less than 56% of their passes has never had success in the league.
That's a
Now,
good
you're completing 56% of your passes against defensive backs that don't run 4.2 and 4.3
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're completing 56% of your passes, and you're not playing against linebackers that run 4.5 40s, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that are as big as you
Yeah.
or bigger. You're only completing 50% of your passes, Charlton, and you're not completing them against J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't have that type of pass rusher coming at you, Charlton. A James Harrison.
Yeah.
A Fletcher Cox. A Beasley.
Yeah.
You don't have these type of pass rushers breathing down your throat. And you think about it. If he was to go to Cleveland, who's in that division? You got the Steelers, Charlton. A great defensive team, all right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to face them a couple times a year.
Yeah.
You're going to have to face Cincinnati, which will have a decent defense.
Yeah.
So, the people that are in your division alone, Charlton, the Ravens, you'll have to face them.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be tough. And when you're not a 56% passer, Charlton, you're not the best of athletes, you're a decent athlete.
Yep.
And people say, well, he's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Why is a white quarterback always a work in progress?
Yeah.
Because he has tremendous upside. If he had tremendous upside, Charlton, playing, and I believe it was the West that he played in college.
Yeah, Mountain West Conference too. Yeah.
Mountain West.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's not completing 60% of his passes.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You can't compete in the NFL completing 56% of your passes. Ask Tom Savage in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's a good
That's
point.
it.
Well,
You cannot.
when I look at that, Big C, I look at, and I'm happy for every athlete that gets a chance to compete. But when you follow players, over the years, I hope everyone's successful. A lot of it depends on your system. But I look at Vince McMahon. I think he had the XFL back in 2000. They lasted 1 year. Some issues went on.
2001.
2001. We know that the USFL lasted a couple years, and Donald Trump helped bankrupt that league the same way. I guess he couldn't get them a big enough tax cut, Big C, for the USFL, for the USFL with Donald Trump. But Vince McMahon, if he brings in another football league, I think it can work as long as they don't compete against the NFL. And if they make it more like an off-season league where they can't have 16 games. Maybe they have an 8-game league, and instead of playing, an hour, would they play like a 15-minute quarter? Maybe go to 10-minute quarters. Almost like indoor football, arena football, but outdoors. That gives guys another chance to make it. If they get cut from a pro roster, you got guys who can go to Canada, they can play the NFL, and they also have the XFL. Does that make any sense? I think it could be a good thing as long as they do it right, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he's talking about kicking off this league again for the second time in 2020.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the inaugural game of that season, Charlton, being a week after the NFC and the AFC playoffs, the week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, to make this league work, Charlton, there's a couple things to make this league work. And you have to build this team around college conferences, okay?
Yeah.
If you want to build it that way, and you put these teams in college towns, not NFL towns.
I agree.
But what you have to do in building these teams, Charlton, is that you have to stock these teams with players from those conferences.
Yeah.
You put two teams, because they got Power 5 conferences, okay?
Yeah.
In college football. You take two teams and fill them with players from the Big Ten in that team.
Yeah.
Okay, the SEC, you take two teams and put in that region.
Yep.
You take two teams from the Pac-12, Charlton, and put them in that region.
Yeah.
You take two teams from the Southwest Conference, put them in that region, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that's what you do in the Big 12 Conference.
Yeah.
You start two teams from each one of those colleges, Charlton, those divisions.
Yeah.
And each one of those teams have at least a dozen colleges in each one of those divisions.
Yeah.
So you can stop these teams, Charlton, with these players. I'm not saying you don't bring in players from other universities.
Right.
But the mainstay of the roster, Charlton, come from those conferences.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have affiliation with these players. Now you think about you take two teams from the SEC.
Yeah.
You got Tim Tebow, you got Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
But you can make quarterbacks on those rosters, Charlton. You think about the Big Ten. Look, you got J.T. Barrett. They're not going to take him in the NFL.
No.
But he's a player that can play, as well as you'll find another Big Ten quarterback. Look at the Pac-12, Charlton, the number of quarterbacks that have come out of that conference.
Yeah.
That can still play.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you do it. You take these running backs, because all of these conferences are loaded with running backs, because it's just so deep in the NFL, everybody can't play receivers. Yeah. So there's plenty enough position players, Charlton, that come from these conferences, that each one of these Power 5 conferences fills two teams, Charlton.
Yeah.
And put them in different cities. now you're going to get fan affiliation. So they want to go back and see some of these players that they still can reminisce about in college. They were on national championship teams, conference championship teams, that would help that league work because there's going to be enough recognizable names.
Yeah.
To help that, as well as getting some feeders from some NFL players that have been cut.
You know what? I think that makes a lot of sense. I remember a lot of the times they would have these all-star games. And if you have an all-star game, people who know, hey, I knew that guy in high school or I followed that guy in college, they're more likely to turn up. And if you're playing in a stadium instead of a 70,000-seat stadium, there are a lot of 30 and 40,000-seat stadiums that could probably pack the crowd if you had that type of setup. I think it can work. I think it can be a feeder for the NFL because the U.S., what was it, the European League that we used to have in Europe, and that didn't last long because Europeans mostly are into soccer.
Think about it. Kurt Warner played over there, Charles, and he won a Super Bowl. Okay?
Yeah,
as many other players did.
Yeah, I think I think he's onto something good. I think it's as long as. And this is what people say, well, people were turned off on football. They're not turned off on football. The fringe fan couldn't care less. But you tell me one person that's not going to watch the Super Bowl, even people that don't like NFL is going to watch Super Bowl. It's always going to be a part of the American fabric. But I do like the fact that there was a time I was talking to another former athlete just a couple of days ago. We haven't always had this big, 53-man roster for the NFL. There were times it was down in the 40s. And it's created more jobs. But if you do it right, I remember we had the USFL, and we had the NFL Europe. We had all those things, and we have this Arena Football League. Big C, it can work, but I want to get your thoughts. How will television cover it? Will it just be something that's on a regional network, or will it go where it's going to make it as big in coverage as the NFL? Big C, your thoughts?
Sharpie, if they're covering high school football, they will cover that somebody there, okay? You're going to tell me that high school players are more talented and interesting than former college players.
Yeah.
It's just not there. But if there's a league, somebody's going to broadcast because there's revenue to be made from the Sharpie.
Yeah.
But the way I just laid it out would be the proper marketing way to do the league. You have to be, we talked about it in college bowl games, you have to regionalize it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to make it where people will come to it because they know people.
Yeah.
You can't take a team from New Mexico and put them in a bowl game, Charlton, in Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can't. No one knows where Mexico is that lives in Memphis.
Donald knows Big C. He's been to Memphis and Mexico, from what I understand, Big C.
but these are the things you have to do. So when you look at the Power 12, the Power 5 conferences, Charlton.
Yeah.
Each one of those conferences can put enough players together, Charlton, to field two teams.
Yeah.
You gotta, you take at least 2/3 of your rosters out of those conferences, and you fill it with the rest of the players that you want to.
Yeah.
But if you take 2/3 of the players on your roster out of each one of these conferences will field two teams, Charlton, you'll have success. Vince McMahon needs to look at that because if I know a guy, I want to see that. You think about the SEC.
Yeah.
You got players from Georgia, you got players from Alabama, you got some Texas A&M, you got Florida, you got LSU.
Yeah.
Great players, Charlton.
Yeah.
As well as the rest of the conference. And so if you field them teams, look at that, ACC.
Yeah.
We have Florida State, North Carolina State,
Yeah.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Syracuse, some top teams. You got Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Texas. In the Big 12.
Yeah.
Texas Tech. So you got teams that can field, and you know your teams out there on the West Coast, Washington, UCLA, Washington State, USC, Arizona State, and so forth, Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you find the two stadiums that are regionalized, not the largest stadiums, but you find two. I mean, in Los Angeles, they got more than two stadiums. But even if they played in the Starbucks Center where the Chargers will be leading.
Isn't that something?
That's the perfect size stadium, Charlton.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Big C. There's a lot of soccer stadiums that are holding about 18 to 20,000. I know they have some one down in San Jose, up in Portland, Oregon. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's a good thing because it gives people a chance to earn a living. We talk about what's happening with the Raiders leaving, going down to Las Vegas, and how that's going to leave the Coliseum empty for football at least. I'm sure they have other events that go on too. But those jobs that need to be replaced, I think the XFL can come in and help create some jobs for people that are going to be losing, all around the country. I think it's a good thing. Big C, last thing I want to finish with. And I know we talked about earlier with the golfer that threw his glove at his caddy, and that was on TV, and then he apologized, and then he fired him, Big C. So I don't need your apology if you want to fire me, Big C. I hope he files some type of court action against that man, because abuse is not tolerated, whether it's man on man or man on woman or etc. I just hope that he can do that. We talked about a few things in the past, but I want to close with this. You know, gambling and the NBA trying to get in on the gambling aspect. The good old boys already got that market, Big C. Just like when they tried the prohibition against alcohol, it didn't stop you good old boys from getting your whiskey and wine up and down the East Corridor in the moonshine. They can never stop that, Big C. Is it a bad thing? We talked about the guy at USC that was just arrested by the FBI for giving money to some players who were already starving, okay? You can't feed starving black athletes. They just got to play for whatever stipend they get. But a white coach can get several $1 million and think that's okay off of free labor. If they legalize gambling and make it so that the NBA gets a percentage of it, isn't that encouraging more good old boy behavior where somebody gets slipped a bag full of money and somebody loses a game because he missed a layup with nobody around him? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I think now, because of the marquee players in the NBA that make most of the decisions and the outcome of the game, make so much money, it's going to be hard to sway them.
Yeah.
You're coming up offering them a few $1,000, few $100,000, where they're making multi-million-dollar contracts. I mean, they're averaging $25, $30 million a year.
Yeah.
The superstars in the league. So you're going to have to put a copious amount of money up to sway one of these players, Charlton. But what the NBA is looking at is that everybody's making money off of their product already.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's what they're looking at. The gamblers are making money off of their product. And the NBA, it's going on anyway, the gambling.
Yeah.
What they're doing is finding a way to get a cut of it. You talked about prohibition and alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay? The government found out that we could not stop production of alcohol, so we have to tax it so that we can get that cut.
Yeah.
Alcohol. So they did that. That's what the NBA is doing right now. They're going to allow in the arena betting. You think about the years that professional sports fought against going to Vegas.
Yep.
We've seen the Las Vegas Knights, Charlton, that's one of the top teams in the NHL, and they're going to make the playoffs. What if they win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
What if they win the Stanley Cup, Charlton? Because the NHL loaded their franchise with quality players.
Yeah.
And they produced. It gelled quicker than anybody expected for them to do that, Charlton.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in the playoffs. So, and when you're talking about your friends out there in Oakland going to Vegas,
Yeah.
so now we got two professional teams in Vegas. So the NBA is right behind them.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that within 3 years, there'll be an NBA team in Las Vegas. So what the NBA is trying to do is open up in the arena betting.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing, where you can place your bets in the arena. So they can get a percentage off of that. And now if they can do that, then they'll find a way to get a percentage out of the rest of it with all these leagues going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Not only will the NBA be a Charlton, the NFL and NHL. So we're talking about these leagues opening their doors to several $100 million more in revenue each year.
Well,
that's what they're looking at. So they're trying to find a way to pinch some of that money off and bring it back into the fold. The players will benefit from it also, Charlton.
Yeah.
But right now they're giving away all that money for free.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're giving it away for free. They're allowing everybody to bet on their games, and they're not getting any of it. The troubling point, Charlton, the minute that the professional leagues open up the gambling to it, what's going to happen to the colleges, Charlton? Now, those are the players that can be tampered with.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You say you can't pay athletes anyway, but the minute you open up these universities getting a percentage of whatever's gained, and I think it's right. If the game is on a sports book in Vegas, that you should have to pay back a percentage of that game that's on the board to the university, Charlton.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Whatever's being bet on the board, whether it's professional or college, you should have an obligation, because the feds know how much money is going in.
Yeah.
There should be an obligation to pay that back to the institution that's being bet on, whether it's college or professional, Charlton.
Yeah, and we hope that they come to a conclusion where they start giving the college players a chance to make money on their labor. No one's saying give me money for something they haven't earned, but they kill a lot of labor.
This is what we talk about. How do you pay the college players? That's the way to pay the college players, Charlton, is that the federal government demands that the gambling institutions pay a percentage back to the university.
Yep.
That percentage is now doled out between the athletes, Charlton. That's how you pay the college players. You don't have to go get money from another source.
Yeah.
It's paid back to them because of the revenue that's generated from these gaming facilities You have to pay a percentage back to these sports programs, and that's how the athletes get paid, Charles.
Well, Big C, that makes a lot of sense, and I hope that it happens because we got to make sure that you start taking care of the people who are bringing in the money, and for the most part, that's the African-American athlete, and I hope that people stop taking advantage of that, but we know things don't happen until you take people to court. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charles, I'm looking forward to a weekend of golf. That's what I see. I want to see golf back on the spotlight this weekend, Charles. I want to see Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson be competitive towards each other, Charles. That would be a highlight of a low weekend in sports, Charles.
I think so, Big C. I hope the golfing guys would love to see that. I know the golf universe would love to see it. And speaking of seeing it, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m., follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe according to Big C and the good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any woman going to do that garbage or man, please call 911 because no one should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.